6:30 p.m. Badge number 4419. For 8 years, Wanda Owens had punched this clock, put on this navy blue uniform, and prepared to be invisible. The sound of the time card machine echoed the familiar click of her own locker. It was a rhythm of muscle memory, the start of another night spent blending into the background of Anderson Tower's 40th floor. The cleaning supply locker room was cramped, windowless, and smelled faintly of ammonia, a sterile cage worlds away from the skyline views on the executive floors. Wanda Owens, 41, moved with a methodical focus. She opened her locker, number 4419, a small metal door that held more secrets than anyone in this billion-dollar building could imagine. As she changed, her eyes scanned the items she'd carefully arranged inside. Taped to the back wall, hidden behind her spare uniform, was a framed certificate, Chicago Medical Institute, Clinical Laboratory Technology. It felt like it belonged to another life, a life where people asked her questions instead of just seeing the mop in her hand. Beside it was a photograph of a smiling 13-year-old girl, Jasmine. Wanda's gaze softened. Jasmine, her bright, brilliant girl. Wanda's eyes instinctively checked the photo, tracing the 3 medical alert bracelets clearly visible on her daughter's left wrist. Peanuts, shellfish, tree nuts. Severe, life-threatening. At the bottom of the locker, beneath her lunch bag, sat a small red medical pouch. It held something that broke all company policy. Wanda unzipped it. Inside, secure in its plastic tube, was an EpiPen, Jasmine's backup auto-injector. She remembered the written warning from facilities management last month. Unauthorized medical supplies. They had told her to remove it. She had nodded, said, "Yes, sir," and simply hidden it better. She thought of her husband, Marcus. Anniversary dinner. Cross-contamination. She remembered the panic, the wheezing, the agonizing 14 minutes it took for the ambulance to arrive. Too late. Always too late. Wanda blinked, pushing the memory down. She picked up the EpiPen and slid it deep into the pocket of her navy blue pants. She would never be that helpless again. Before closing the locker, she retrieved one last item, a small, black, hardbound notebook and a pen. She flipped it open. 8 years of observations, written in neat, clinical handwriting. Her last entry from the previous night, floor 38, chipped paint near fire exit. She'd noted sparking electrical outlets, blank sanitization logs in the kitchen, cracked windows. She documented everything. In 8 years, nobody had ever asked to see it. Nobody cared what a cleaning lady noticed. She closes the locker, pushes her cart into the hallway, and starts her route, floor 42, the executive suite. Wanda is now heading to the executive suite, carrying secrets and observations that no one else values. If you are still with us and believe these quiet details matter, we'd be so grateful if you'd let us know by commenting with the number 8 below. It truly helps us know you're here. And if this story is already speaking to you, we warmly invite you to subscribe to Black Brilliance and ring the bell. We have so many more stories of quiet strength and hidden potential to share, and your support makes it all possible. Now, let's see what's happening on floor 42. 4 floors down, in an office overlooking the Chicago skyline, Charles Anderson reviewed the biggest deal of his career, $1.8 billion. While Wanda Owens was just starting her familiar, unnoticed route on floor 42, Charles was preparing for a 90-minute dinner in that very suite, a dinner that could secure his legacy or see it all crumble. The merger documents were spread across his mahogany desk. He had to close it tonight, or the entire deal would default to their rival, Meridian Capital. His eyes drifted to the silver-framed photo on his desk. Eleanor, his wife. She had been gone 2 years now, dead from a cancer he'd been too busy to notice until it was too late. Stage 4, 6 months gone. The guilt was a familiar, cold weight in his chest. He had been so focused on deals just like this one, he had missed the symptoms. He wouldn't make that kind of mistake in business, but he had made it with the only thing that mattered. He swiveled in his chair and opened a locked drawer in his desk pedestal. Inside, hidden beneath a stack of old shareholder reports, was a prescription bottle. He picked it up, the plastic rattling softly. The label was stark. Charles Anderson, EpiPen, auto-injector, shellfish allergy, severe. He'd had the allergy his whole life, but he never told anyone at the office. Weakness was vulnerability. Vulnerability was liability. In his world, you didn't show weakness, not even to your own assistant. He checked his watch. 7:30 p.m. The dinner was only supposed to last 90 minutes. Just a simple, formal meal to sign the final papers. He made a quick, fatal calculation. He wouldn't need it. It was just upstairs. What could possibly happen in 90 minutes? He placed the EpiPen back in the drawer, turned the key, and slid it shut. The click of the lock felt final. He straightened his tie, smoothed his suit jacket, and left the office, leaving his secret and his lifeline behind. 7:50 p.m. In the kitchen outside the dining room, Chef Raymond Clark pulls a cutting board from the rack. It is bright red. 7:50 p.m. Wanda Owens watched through the service window as Chef Raymond prepared the salad course. He used the red cutting board, the one marked shellfish only. Just 30 minutes earlier, she had seen him prepping lobster tails on that very board. Now, he was cutting romaine lettuce on it with the same knife, wearing the same gloves, with no washing in between. Charles Anderson was in the next room, sealing a billion-dollar deal, completely unaware that the chef was creating a lethal cross-contamination. Wanda's hand instinctively went to her pocket, not for the EpiPen, but for the small notebook. She wrote, 7:50 p.m. Chef Clark, protocol violation, red board mixing. She watched, horrified, as Raymond moved with the sloppy confidence of someone who hadn't been checked in years. He dipped a spoon into olive oil, the same oil he'd used for the lobster, and drizzled it over the Caesar salad. It was direct, obvious contamination. Wanda's eyes moved to the wall behind him. The laminated FDA allergen control checklist, required by law, hung pristine and completely blank. The 3-basin sink sat bone dry. This wasn't just sloppy, it was dangerous. This was how Marcus died. 8:10 p.m. Wanda pushed her cart to the dining room entrance. Monica Sterling stood guard, arms crossed. "Excuse me, Miss Sterling," Wanda said quietly. It's about the food safety. I noticed the kitchen." Monica didn't even look at her. "Not now," she said, her voice ice. "Mr. Anderson cannot be disturbed. The chef is Michelin trained. I think he knows what he's doing." Wanda pressed, her voice urgent. "I saw the cutting board. The protocols aren't being followed. The dietary form." Monica finally turned, her eyes flashing with annoyance. "This is a billion-dollar deal. Do you understand? You can clean later." The dismissal was total, a reminder of exactly where Wanda stood. A server carried the gleaming salad plates past them and into the dining room. Wanda watched through the glass as Charles Anderson laughed at something an executive said, relaxed and unaware. He picked up his fork. Wanda had seconds. She lunged for the door again. A solid body stepped in front of her. Trevor Hayes, the security guard. "Ma'am, no cleaning during dinner service," he said flatly. "It's not about cleaning," Wanda pleaded, trying to see around him. "There's a problem with the food." Trevor's hand moved to her shoulder, firm and final. "You need to step back, ma'am." Trapped between the unmoving guard and the dismissive assistant, Wanda could only watch in horror. Through the glass, she saw Charles Anderson lift the fork to his mouth and take his first bite of salad. His face flushes red within seconds. His hand goes to his throat. "The moment we feared has arrived." Wanda tried to warn them, but she was dismissed because of her uniform. If you are on the edge of your seat and you feel the value in her quiet observation, please let us know you're standing with Wanda by commenting with the number 3 below. Your support helps Black Brilliance continue to tell these vital stories. If you haven't already, we warmly invite you to subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss what happens when true brilliance shines through. We must get back to the dining room. Let's continue. As hives spread across Charles Anderson's neck, the 4 executives sat frozen. Wanda ran toward the dining room. Trevor Hayes immediately blocked her path again, his hand out. "Ma'am, I told you." His voice echoed his earlier dismissal. "You people stay downstairs during service." But Wanda didn't stop. She pushed past his arm, her eyes locked on Charles, who was now turning a deep purple. Monica Sterling spun around. "What are you doing? Get her out of here." Are you seriously interrupting a business dinner over a cutting board? Wanda ignored her. Her voice was different now. The timid cleaner's tone was gone, replaced by a sharp, clinical precision. She looked directly at Monica. Does Mr. Anderson have a shellfish allergy? The question hung in the air, stunning Monica into silence. Wanda didn't wait for an answer. The cross-contamination level I witnessed is enough to trigger anaphylaxis in 2 to 8 minutes. I was a clinical lab technician, immunology department at Children's Memorial, 6 years. The executives stared, dumbfounded. Wanda pointed toward the kitchen, her words like bullets. He used a red board marked, shellfish only. The knife wasn't washed between the lobster and the salad. The olive oil was contaminated. The sanitization log hasn't been signed in 6 days. 8:18 p.m. Charles stood abruptly, his chair scraping loudly on the floor. He clawed at his collar, his face a deep red. He tried to speak, but only a high-pitched wheeze, a stridor, came out. He was panicking. Wanda pushed past the frozen executives to his side. This is anaphylactic shock, stage 4, she announced, her voice cutting through the chaos. His airway is closing. He has approximately 3 minutes before complete closure. The room erupted in panic. A lawyer fumbled for his phone, yelling, 911. Wanda grabbed an executive's arm. Where's his EpiPen? I don't know, the man stammered. His office, maybe? In his desk. Wanda knew his office was on floor 38. That's 4 floors down. Too late. She stood up. I have one. Floor 40. My locker. The company lawyer looked up from his phone, his face pale. You can't use someone else's prescription medication. That's illegal in Illinois. As he spoke, Charles collapsed back into his chair, his lips turning blue. His breathing was a desperate, failing gasp. Wanda looked the lawyer dead in the eye. Do you want to watch him die legally or save him illegally? Silence. Wanda is already sprinting. She yells to Trevor, follow me. They burst into the emergency stairwell, taking the stairs 2 at a time. 8:22 p.m. Wanda slams into the locker room. Her fingers tremble as she fumbles the combination lock on locker number 4419. Hurry! Trevor yells behind her, breathing hard. The lock won't catch. Wrong. She tries again. Click. The locker swings open. As Wanda rips the red medical pouch from the bottom, Trevor, trying to catch his breath, sees the contents of the locker she left exposed, the framed clinical laboratory technology certificate hanging on the door. He glances down at her black notebook, which she had dropped on the stairs and he'd scooped up. He flips it open, his eyes widening as he sees pages of technical observations. You're not just... Run! Wanda yells, EpiPen in hand, already sprinting back up the stairs. 8:25 p.m. They burst back into the dining room. Charles is slumped in his chair, his face grayish-blue, his breathing a barely perceptible gasp. Wanda drops to her knees beside him. Mr. Anderson, I'm giving you epinephrine. She pulls the cap off the injector, places the orange tip against his outer thigh, right through the fabric of his expensive suit pants. She pushes down hard. The click is sharp, audible in the silent, terrified room. She holds it firmly in place. 1, 2, 3. She pulls it away and immediately begins massaging the injection site, forcing the medicine into the muscle. 8:25 and 45 seconds. 4:30 agonizing seconds. Nothing happens. Then, 60 seconds after the injection, Charles takes a shuddering, deeper breath. The terrible high-pitched stridor diminishes. Color begins to return to his face. 8:30 p.m. Paramedics rush in. The lead paramedic assesses Charles, then looks at Wanda. Who administered epinephrine? I did, Wanda says. 0.3 milligrams intramuscular. The paramedic checks Charles's vitals. Good work. You saved his life. As they wheel Charles out on a gurney, he weakly grabs Wanda's hand. Thank you, he whispers, his voice hoarse. You saw what no one did. He looks at his CFO. I want her information. We'll talk. 9 a.m. the next morning. Wanda, having come in for her regular shift, is called to Human Resources on floor 12. Patricia Hughes, the HR director, and the company lawyer are waiting for her. Miss Owens, Patricia says, her voice cold, you're on administrative leave pending investigation. Wanda is stunned. Investigation. The lawyer sets down his briefcase. You administered prescription medication not prescribed to Mr. Anderson. That's illegal in the state of Illinois. You also violated company policy by keeping unauthorized medical supplies in your locker. You've been written up for this before. Simultaneously, miles away at Northwestern Memorial Hospital, Monica Sterling is confessing to a recovering Charles Anderson. She knew about his allergy. She shows him a text message thread on her phone. Unknown. Did it work? Sent 8:35 p.m. Monica? No. Someone saved him. The cleaning lady. Wanda sits in the sterile HR room, reeling. Criminal charges, she whispers, her hands shaking. You're suspending me for being a hero. As Wanda leaves the HR office, numb, she sees the breaking news on the lobby TV, apparent assassination attempt. Sources say a member of the cleaning staff intervened. Personal assistant Monica Sterling has been taken into custody. Her phone rings. It's Trevor. Miss Owens? You need to come back. Mr. Anderson wants to see you. I can't, Wanda says, her voice hollow. I'm on suspension. There's a pause. Not anymore. 2 p.m. For the first time in 8 years, Wanda Owens walked into Charles Anderson's office, and she wasn't there to empty his trash. The room was crowded. Charles, looking pale but resolute, sat behind his desk. Patricia from HR and the company lawyer stood stiffly in the corner. Trevor was there, along with 2 Chicago police detectives and an FBI agent in a dark suit. The invisible woman was now the star witness. Miss Owens, the FBI agent said, holding up her small black notebook. May we see this? Wanda nodded, handing it over. The agent flipped through the pages, his eyes scanning her neat script. He stopped, reading aloud. June 3rd, Monica Sterling, new assistant, asking questions about Mr. Anderson's health. Unusual interest in medical history. He flipped forward. September 8th, Monica meeting someone in parking garage level B3. Man in dark suit. They spoke for 12 minutes. She handed him an envelope. The agent looked up, his expression serious. Miss Owens, you documented a conspiracy. Wanda shook her head slightly. I documented what I saw. I'm a cleaner. I see things. Charles Anderson finally spoke, his voice clear. Here's what's going to happen. He looked past the detectives, past the lawyers, directly at Wanda. Miss Owens, you're not suspended. You're promoted. Director of Safety and Compliance, Anderson Financial Group. Starting salary, $120,000. Wanda stared, speechless. Patricia Hughes's jaw dropped. And your daughter's college tuition, Charles continued, fully covered. 4 years. Any school she gets into. He then fired Chef Raymond over the phone and announced sweeping reforms. An anonymous safety reporting system, real whistleblower protections, and a new living wage baseline. 4 p.m. Charles stood at a podium in the building lobby, Wanda nervously standing beside him, facing a sea of cameras. Yesterday, someone tried to kill me, Charles said. The person who saved my life was Wanda Owens. She's a former clinical lab technician. For 8 years, we ignored her. Today, I'm announcing the Wanda Owens Safety Initiative. Every observation will be valued, because the person who sees the problem isn't always the person in charge. A reporter called out, Miss Owens, what do you want people to know? Wanda stepped to the microphone, her voice shaking slightly. People like me are supposed to be invisible. We clean your floors, but we see everything. All you have to do is listen. 5 p.m. The press conference was over. The hallway was quiet. Charles turned to Wanda. I need to ask you something. Why didn't you just let me die? He asked, his voice raw. I've walked past you for 8 years. I never learned your name. Wanda met his gaze. I'm someone who lost her husband because nobody knew what to do. I'm someone who believes every life matters. Even the life of someone who didn't see me. 3 months later. A camera pans across a bright, corner office. A new nameplate on the door reads, Wanda Owens, Director of Safety and Compliance. On her polished desk, next to audit reports, sits a photo of Jasmine, who is smiling and holding an acceptance letter, Northwestern University Pre-Med Full Scholarship. In a world that moves so fast, Wanda Owens' story reminds us of the profound power held by those who quietly pay attention. It teaches us that true worth is not defined by a uniform but by integrity, and that kindness, even when ignored, often finds its way back to us in the most unexpected ways. If this story of quiet courage touched your heart, we hope you'll share that inspiration. We invite you to follow Black Brilliance as we continue to uplift more stories of resilience and grace that deserve to be heard.